we had a little release this week. There was some hoopla here, some defense in New York City, believe it or not, out here in the bastion of armaments that is Bushwick, Brooklyn. Let's talk about it with the executive director of Silicon Valley Defense Group, Mike Keating. Mike, welcome to the Steam Zone.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Steam Zone's the place to be on a Friday afternoon.
It's
especially
we keep it
only if you get rid of your sleeves so you can handle the heat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm a little bit south of you in DC, where I know it was a warm week in New York. I was in New York, but it's even warmer down here. So
DC simmers like a Benihana grill sometimes. I feel like a volcano.
I know, and I was walking around in like nice shoes and a shirt and a jacket, and just kind of sweating through everything.
God help us, these jokes are terrible. Mike, big week for you. How'd it go up in New York? Tell us a little bit about the release of the NatSec 100. What is that thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me, and thanks for asking, guys. So the NatSec 100 is a publication that the Silicon Valley Defense Group pumps out each year. This is the third year that we've done it. Each year it has grown in kind of scale and reach. The long and short of it is, and I'll double click into this in a moment, but the long and short of it is we publish a list each year that is our ranking of the top 100 venture and PE-backed defense tech startups. It is mostly momentum based, so those companies that have raised a lot recently and or are growing with a headcount. Our methodology has a recency bias in it, so whoever's moving and growing most recently is going to see growth on the chart on the list. That's the short answer. The longer answer is it's a report for us that's a signal on the state and the health of the defense tech ecosystem. So we encourage people to look at the NatSec 100, not just the list, but the analysis behind the 100 companies on the list. I think it's a signal, and this year our report signals positive but precarious momentum and maturation in the defense innovation ecosystem. I think, in my opinion, it signals a defense tech ecosystem that's ready for the next natural phase of growth, which is innovation adoption at scale and integration with capital markets.
So, Mike, let me hop in here for a second because we'll get into that. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
It sounds like, so when you talk about momentum, is this the original like vibe listing, the NatSec 100? Like who should use this and what should they be using it for?
Yeah, I think like anyone that really operates in our ecosystem, and that ecosystem being sort of defense tech, defense innovation, broadly defined, mostly venture backed, early stage stuff, they should look at this, right? But I think our audience includes legislators on the Hill. It includes acquisition officials in the Pentagon. It includes the founders of companies. It includes early stage investors. And this year I want it to include audience in the capital markets and Wall Street sector.
Question about the methodology. Is there some incentive, as a founder myself, I don't always want to raise the most money. I want to raise capital efficiently, and I don't want to just grow headcount just to grow headcount. I want to grow it efficiently. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's right, and I appreciate you saying that. Which is why we do weight the methodology. The big inputs are headcount growth and recent raise, but there's a few other little micro factors that go into it as well, and we do weight those. I think the way to look at it is that this year we came back with the same quantitative methodology, and it's bolstered by 3 years of comparative data. So we use the same calculation year by year. This is important to us so that we can be consistent with it, and that you can actually look at trends over the last 3 years. There's a lot of movement on the list this year. You have, give or take, 30 to 40 new entrants to the list in general. You have a couple dozen dropping off it, and we had 2 brand new entrants to the top 10. Not only were they entrants to the top 10, but they were new entrants to the top 100, which is interesting. And it does show that if you have a successful commercial business and you're willing to start a defense tech practice, as we hope you do, there's a lot of returns on that, right? Yeah, anyway, so like we use our scoring calculation in partnership with Franklin Templeton and Balyasny Asset Management. They help us with a lot of the data scraping. Our list starts with about 900 companies or so. And then over the past few months, we've narrowed it down and necked it down to the top 100. Obviously, if you IPO, you're going to get kicked off the list. And we had 7 successful off the list from last year, which is great, right? I think movement on the list signals a healthy ecosystem.
You need an alumni list.
Yeah, well, this is a good idea, right? And like I am open to any types of input. So we're a mission-focused nonprofit, and improvements on the list for next year are important to us. So we genuinely do solicit any and all kind of contributions from our friends here. And I think movement on the list is healthy. It signals a healthy ecosystem. It would not be healthy if it was the same 100 companies every year. Like, that's not good.
That's the world we're trying to leave, right? Of
Yeah, no,
everybody being the same.
that's exactly right. You want to see companies IPOing here. You want to see companies going public. You want to see mergers and acquisitions. That's a signal of a healthy ecosystem, and indeed, the data supports that.
What was the most shocking thing on the list?
Um, I don't think there was anything particularly shocking on the list, but there are some risk signals that the data uncovers for us that I think we should pay attention to. One is both good and bad, and that is we saw a 2.3x increase in federal spend. I'm sorry, in DoD spend on the top 100 companies this year. That matters. That's important. There has been a positive CAGR in the last 5 years, and I think we're up 20x from where we were in 2019. Having said that, it still constitutes less than 1% of the total DoD budget, right? And I don't think there's anyone in our ecosystem, that being Capitol Hill, the Pentagon, the investment community, the founders, DoD itself, that thinks that's enough, right? Our top 100 companies are a proxy for successful defense innovation, and I still don't think they're getting enough spend. That's a risk signal. There's a lot of momentum right now. There's the executive orders that everyone's been tracking. There's legislation on the Hill and the Forged in the SPEED Act. There is momentum in this ecosystem to accelerate or improve the processes to enable accelerated procurement. But that gap between private capital investment and government awards, that's a risk signal to our ecosystem, and that's spelled out pretty explicitly in the report. I think another interesting takeaway for me is that, unsurprisingly, right, like most of the investments in the top 100 companies are in software or software adjacent technologies. Like DoD R&E publishes a list of 14 critical technology areas. We don't see as many companies in the top 100 doing hardware-centric deep tech development. It's not terribly surprising, but it does tell me that A, we may be neglecting those areas, and B, there's tremendous investment opportunity out there for folks that want to support companies that are doing that.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, I know it's been a busy week. It's late on a Friday. We appreciate you making some time to join us and give us a little tour of what's going on with SVDG and the NatSec 100. Encourage folks to check it out. We'll give you the last word here. You got any blow off some steam for us, Mike? What do you got? What's burning in the belly? What do you want to leave us with?
Look, if you look at this year's report and you look at the last two reports, you see an ecosystem that is growing and is maturing. We are still calling this defense innovation. I don't think the Chinese call it defense innovation. They call it defense. Mm-hmm. And language matters. And we need to move this ecosystem into its next natural phase of growth if we're going to have a deterrent capacity against our adversaries. You don't do that with innovation. You do that with innovation adoption and innovation adoption at scale. And as our ecosystem has matured over the last 10 years, it is ready for innovation adoption. I think the only way that happens is we thank our venture incubators that have brought us to where we are, and we move this ecosystem, frankly, into Wall Street and Main Street. If we're going to scale these technologies and adopt them in a big way, we need to bring new funders into the conversation. And that's why we held our release in New York this week with our great partners at JP Morgan. That's the next phase of growth for this ecosystem, and SVDG is really excited for the next 10 years. So please download the report, check it out, and be part of the conversation.
Hey, Mike, thanks for making some time, man. Thanks for what you're doing. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, you bet, fellas. Enjoy your weekends.
All right. So
Cool.
Interesting conversation with Mike. Interesting decision to have that event in New York City. It is definitely not what you'd expect. There aren't many major defense events happening in the city. And what do you buy his argument about moving into the next kind of stage of capital?
Yeah, I think that he's nailing it, right? There's been all this buzz on the early stage of innovation, and that's great. And then, like we talked about with drones, it's all about execution. And I think in some ways, the symbol of doing that execution is moving it from Silicon Valley into New York and DC.
Yeah. Well, as we know, it doesn't take being the biggest to be the most successful. I thought that was a good kind of conversation there. We're excited about some of the companies on the list. The turnover, I think, is the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully the turnover is up, not out for next year.